we're in the spirit world, asshole. They can't see us.
Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And this is 1988's Young Guns.
Best I got.
Hey, it works. It works. Yeah. So, all right, Young Guns. Let's open it and unpack. According to IMDb, it's a group of young men led by Billy the Kid. They become deputies to avenge the murder of the rancher, which is John Tunstall, who became their benefactor. But when Billy takes their authority too far, they become the hunted.
Starting to read your own press, Billy.
So I'll start by saying this. Probably one of the best movies that we've reviewed.
Yeah, not my favorite movie.
No.
That we've reviewed, but it's the best movie we reviewed.
Yeah.
It really is. It's so good.
Everything in this movie, from the cast. I mean, the cast is amazing.
Yep.
Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips when he was Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh, dude. He is ultimate Lou Diamond Phillips. And it's amazing.
Charlie Sheen.
Pre-Tiger Blood.
Yeah, I was going to say pre-winning.
He's acting.
He was already winning.
Yep. He was not. This was amazing because he was actually, you get to see Charlie Sheen when he acted. Not when he was like, hey, I'm Charlie Sheen. Look at me interact with John Cryer and the little boy. He's actually acting. He has an accent.
Yep.
Excuse me. He has an accent. He's very serious.
Yeah.
He's by far the straight man in this movie.
Taking you to jail. No killing.
Objection, Your Honor. These boys are going to the grave in the name of John Tunstall.
I said quiet, Billy. I don't need that kind of talk. He's been with us. We made a pact, right, McCluskey? You're out of line, you son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Everyone else has comedy lines, including Chavez.
Yes.
But Charlie Sheen does not.
No, Charlie Sheen is the straight man in this movie.
You think he fucking cracks a smile? He is hardcore.
You also have Terry O'Quinn, who I believe I was like, dude, that guy looks so familiar. And I was like, oh, it's John Locke from Lost.
Oh, the lawyer. Yeah.
Yep. Alex the lawyer.
And you got Jack Palance as the bad guy. Was fantastic.
Get ready for hell.
The way he says that is a phenomenal.
Everything, all his lines he delivers are fantastic throughout the movie.
I sat in the mirror for 45 minutes going, get ready for hell. And I couldn't nail the line. I don't know how he did that.
But, I mean, you got the entire cast. I'm obviously leaving a ton of people off. But the only thing I could have done without started the movie, and I could have done without the intro. I know it's a nitpicking, but I could have really done without the intro. It could have started with Billy the Kid running out of the saloon and running away, and then picking him up and adding him to the crew and whatever.
Yep.
The whole that whole intro, I was whatever. Again, I know we talked about this. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. I would say probably 5 years since I've seen this movie. And I don't remember the intro, so when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, are we in for one of these movies again, where I'm just gonna pick the whole thing apart?" And it really wasn't like that at all. It was fantastic.
No, that was a very 1988 intro for a younger movie. You know, not a not a Breakfast Club, Brat Pack kind of group, but the outside fringe of those guys.
Absolutely.
And they were all so good that the intro, I excuse. I also felt the same way because you go from the intro right to kind of that generic pre grunge guitar. Whenever something exciting is happening, the wow, 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 It's just like, get the fuck out of here with that. I was getting really upset, and all my fears were quickly alleviated. It was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, no.
And what was shocking was surprisingly historically accurate. Surprisingly accurate.
Okay, so I'm gonna say a couple of things about this. So
there we go.
And it's not about the historic accuracy. After watching the movie, I did zero research, did zero reading on Billy the Kid and all that stuff. In my head, I was like, how accurate is this? And I just assumed like, oh, it's just Hollywood bullshit and none of it's accurate. And that was just my assumption. Like I did zero looking into it. And honestly, I didn't really want to because I didn't want to ruin it.
Right. It was a good movie.
Exactly.
It's a good standalone movie, whether or not history or any of that shit actually happened.
Yes, exactly. There was a few things, like, again, nitpicking. A couple of the accents, I was just like,
yeah, sure,
could have done without that, but you'll have that. There was a million people in this movie. Somebody's going to have a shitty accent.
I didn't appreciate all the racial slurs against Irishmen, quite frankly.
This one was the first movie that there was no racial slurs against Polish people or Italians.
That's true. Yeah, it's because nobody cast any of them.
Exactly. You did have a lot of.
You're a red-ass Mexican greaser. You do it with your horse. Greaser, come on, Greaser, cut me in. Hey, Navajo.
Dude, Dirty Steve is maybe one of the best pure comic characters I have ever seen.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, like, anymore, you watch one of these characters that is intentionally racist.
Yeah.
Whether it's for comic relief or not, but back in like the especially the 80s, early 80s mainly, but 80s racism was a little sharper when you watch it with today's kind of PC vision.
Yeah.
And that did not happen in this. Because, I mean, he called them Navajo. He called him, I think, a greaser attached with the nationality.
Yeah,
that was really it. And
so let me ask you this.
So as far as the slur, like if I call you Italian, you'd be like, yeah,
Mexican Indian, you son of a bitch.
His character was a lot of fun, just because he used the knives. I like the knives over the guns.
I'll kind of take us through the actual storyline, because this movie was
we're just flying all over the place right now.
Yeah.
We got pure chaos happening.
No, yeah, it's all chaos. So because this movie was an hour and 40 minutes, but it moved quickly.
Oh yeah, it was paced so well.
It really, really was. So they pick up Billy the Kid, and it's Doc Scurlock and John Tunstall, and they're leaving town. They pick up Billy the Kid, they help him escape, add him to the regulators. John Tunstall is he a rancher technically?
Yeah, I guess he's a cattle rancher.
And they're basically just helping him keep people off the land from stealing shit. Exactly. That's when you have the regulators exposition.
We work for Mr. Tunstall as regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property. We're damn good, too. But you can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep.
Warren G's Regulators? Not part of the soundtrack. Didn't come out till well after this movie.
Yep.
And looking back, I was like, I thought that was all tied in. No.
No, if you actually listen to the lyrics of Regulators, it has nothing to do with the Lincoln County Cattle Wars.
No,
it's more about getting jacked at a dice game.
And I'm pretty sure it was released 6 years after the movies.
Yes.
But there's beef between Tunstall and L.G. Murphy, who's played by Jack Palance, and Tunstall is killed on their way back from a New Year's party, and all hell breaks loose. So the regulators are deputized to basically take down Jack Palance, his whole crew, and all of the political corruption. Glad things have changed in this country. But kidding. But not. Anyway. But yeah, so then, Billy the Kid kind of, it's Charlie Sheen's crew. But
correct.
Soon, Emilio Estevez starts to overshadow Charlie Sheen. Much like in real life, and Emilio Estevez started overshadowing.
Yeah, and then they did Mighty Ducks 3,
Yeah,
and it was like, no, Charlie wins.
We'll go back to the other guy.
Yep, put Charlie on TV. We're gonna call it a day.
But
put Wild Thing in a fucking Hawaiian shirt and make him a womanizer. It's a real stretch.
Exactly. But yeah, so they are supposed to give warrants. Billy the Kid's just killing everybody.
Howdy.
Because it leads into, because they're basically trapped and they don't know where to go and they don't know what to do, and they drink peyote, and the peyote scene is probably one of the funniest scenes and one of the best scenes in the movie. It's in my top 3 drug scenes in a movie. Just outright hallucinating drug scenes.
Did you guys see something? Chicken?
Best line in the whole thing.
Oh no, I disagree.
We're in the spirit world, asshole. They can't see us.
Both Dirty Steve lines.
Yes. But yeah, so.
Oh my God, so good. So classic.
That's a great scene. Dick gets killed in the shootout. That scene was great. I like how they're ducked behind everything. Dude's in the porta pot.
Yep.
The outhouse. And they think that he's dead, possibly, or at least injured. And he says, "Cover me." And he walks out, and like nobody, they're all standing with their guns, but nobody does anything.
They're all looking for a blanket because they don't understand metaphors.
And Charlie Sheen's character gets shot. He dies, and they bounce out. They decide. Well, Billy decides that he's going to go after Sheriff Brady and kill him, and it takes you to the end, which is the big shootout. They actually go to Alex the lawyer, his house, to get him and his wife out of town because they're going to kill him. At least that's what was said. It was an ambush, and you have Jack Palance's crew, and you have the military there.
United States Cavalry. No big deal.
Yeah, no biggie. The end shootout scene is great. And Emilio Estevez, and again, outside of the Mighty Duck series, in this movie, he is so good.
Brilliant.
He is so good as Billy the Kid.
Yes.
And in this ending shootout scene, he takes the character to like another level.
Yes. It's funny. It's the nonverbal acting he does throughout that scene when they're trapped in the house and they originally open fire.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal because you can see his whole transition going from we're laughing, we're having a good time, I'm in my element in a shootout to, we're all probably really going to die right now.
Yep. The only question I have in the end shootout scene, which was just a fantastic scene. But 2 things. One, they never tell, because they're surrounded. They never tell you how Chavez gets out and gets the horses.
He turns into the wind. Pale face.
He takes some peyote and they go to the spirit world, asshole.
In the spirit world.
So
You can't see me, Custer.
so they never say how he does that. At the very end, as they're getting away, sort of, some of them are getting shot to death, but the military and the cavalry had this like Gatling gun, and they didn't use it. I mean, that thing is a beast. It's a
monster.
It could have shredded that house. It could have cut the house in half. And they didn't use it until Alex, the lawyer, was holding a white handkerchief and unarmed, and they just gun him down.
And then he wakes up on the island.
And there's some smoke monster.
There's some smoke monster. Yeah, it's crazy.
But that was the only thing, and I was like, oh, come on, because they literally could have brought the house down on top of itself had they used that gun 20 minutes earlier.
Yep.
And nobody gets away, and there's no young guns, too.
This is what I want to know. So they set the house on fire.
Yeah.
Right? The house is on fire. Was my one big question. And then they start throwing the trunks out.
Yes.
And they show the trunks hit the roof, bounce down onto a secondary roof on the first floor.
Yeah.
And then fall to the ground with a thud. The only other noise is the fire.
Yes.
Nobody's shooting.
Yes.
You're telling me one of those guys didn't hit the ground and go, fuck!
Well,
There's no way.
Okay, since
There's no... I mean, we got to go somewhere with the question, so I'm taking it to that point.
Since
if I hit the ground, I'm going, God damn it!
Since we're
I
on
can't stub my toe and not do that.
Well, and since you brought up the trunks, because I did have a question about the trunks as well, which was if they're, again, they hit the roof, they fall, they hit the ground, and then, Billy the Kid jumps out, bang, 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 bang. Which means that the trunk probably wasn't locked. So how did it stay closed? I was like, because again, I haven't seen this movie in forever, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how did they get out of this at the end? I don't remember. Yeah. And then I see Billy the Kid get out, and I was like, why are they throwing books and shit out the window? Like, I had no idea what was going on. And I see Billy the Kid jump out, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Wait, were those locked? Like, how did he get out?
He's just holding it really tight.
But yeah, again, what was that? 3 nitpicky things that I had wrong with this movie? It was, dude.
And if it makes you feel better, they did not do that in real life. I'm chalking that up to a studio note, the trunks.
Yeah.
Because in real life, they literally just dipped out the back door in a hail of bullets and got away.
But that's not Hollywood.
Yeah, that's anticlimactic.
That doesn't make millions at the box office.
No.
It
makes more sense to throw grown men out onto a fucking off a 3-story roof.
And have John Locke killed by a Gatling gun at the end.
Yes.
But
here's my question. I do have a legit question that bugged me, and I know, like, in this time, nobody cared about women. Not a big deal. So, the lawyer's wife, Alex's wife, she's walking up and being like to the cavalry and being like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? There's a lawyer in there, and blah blah blah. We're innocent, yada yada." And the lawyer says, remove her. And then Jack Palance's character comes up and starts basically calling her a whore. And he just like, la, 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 I called you a whore. And everybody else laughs. And then she just kind of slaps somebody and walks away. Like, what the fuck was the point of all that?
Well, she slaps the general.
Why? Yeah, she slaps the general. Yeah. But why is Jack Palance chirping at all? The general should have been like, hey, you need to back the fuck up.
Yeah.
You, bitch, need to back the fuck up.
Well, I'm
handling this shit. Jack Palance was running that show.
Well, yeah, and that goes to like
with the U.S. Army?
That goes to the political corruption, because when they first show up, he's already jaw-jacking at the general when they first pull up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's basically running that whole gig, and
I got to really rethink some things about the federal government. If you want to see, like, we bag on exposition a lot, like between Madam Exposition and
yep.
blah blah blah. Everybody's somebody exposition. This did it correctly.
Yes.
The only massive, like, exposition was when Charlie lassos Emilio Estevez, Billy the Kid, at the beginning, and does the whole intro for Warren G.
Yes.
And explains to the regulators. That was the only everything else is just peppered in nicely.
Yep.
It's mainly done at the New Year's Eve party. It's done when they're sitting around the table reading.
Yeah.
It's done even when they're making fun of Billy. They show that Billy's funny, he's witty.
Yeah.
That John Tunstall's running the house. They just handled the exposition perfectly. And it wasn't all in your face at once. And, oh, hi, I'm a psychic nobody's ever heard of. I'm going to tell you why this monster exists for the last 400 years. You know what I mean? Like, it was nice. And they don't even call him Billy the Kid, except for one time.
Well, it's
and
just
that's when Chavez says, El Chivato, Billy the Kid.
Yeah, well,
because they say a person nicknamed the Kid in the newspaper.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought in the newspapers they called him Billy the Kid a couple of times, but the actual
Billy, or they just call him the Kid.
Okay, yeah, and then I think when he's at which is another great scene in the movie, when they're at when they're trying to get to Mexico or old Mexico, they are at the little cantina or the bar in the town, and the guy's talking shit about how he'll kill Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
He might refer to him as Billy the Kid there. I can't really remember. But that scene is another fantastic scene.
Fantastic.
And Emilio Estevez is perfect in that. Like that, he executes the whole scene just like fantastically.
Again, him emptying the bullets is just another subtle reminder that he is so much more intelligent.
Yeah. And in that scene and throughout the movie, he's funny in that sly kind of side eye sort of way. You know what I mean? Like that wink and nod kind of.
Yep.
But he peppers that in throughout. But in that little cantina scene, it's perfect. And then he shows like the humor and his intelligence, and then he shows how brutal he is because he just shoots the guy and he's like, "All right, we ready to go?"
Yeah, he does the same thing in the house when they're trapped in the house, and he says,
I see you got Charlie Crawford down there with you. Oh my God!
Damn.
Charlie Crawford ain't with you anymore.
"Fucking phenomenal."
Yeah, that's great. I love that part too. But yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of what we do, I think we're both in agreement here that from 88 to 2020 now, I mean, you're talking, what's that, 32 years? I don't math very well.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's 32 years. I think it really still stands the test of time.
It absolutely does, especially as far as a period piece would be concerned, as far as a historical movie would be concerned, if you want to call it that. They're all there.
Yeah.
And this is like, if you were a young screenwriter or you have interest in writing a movie, get your hands on this script, watch this movie, see how they did it. Because I'm sure to, Martin Scorsese, it's very basic bitch, but to people like us,
yeah,
it's like it is a blueprint on how to do it correctly.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, I actually noticed this when I was thinking about, obviously, does it stand the test of time? Does it still hold up? And outside of the obvious things, the acting, the exposition, how it's shot, all those things, I also noticed that period pieces like this, historical type movies hold up so much better over time than it's 1988 and the movie is present day 1988. God forbid you try to do it. This is 20 years into the future. There's flying cars. There's always shit like that. And it's like, oh, that doesn't, that bothers me. But those movies that are like, it's present day, they don't hold up as well.
No,
so,
not even remotely close. If you go back through the 5 best Westerns versus the 5 just like Flashdance, Footloose, etc., I'm going to take the Western every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're just typically better stories, unless it's that 1950s shit where like Roy Rogers got tassels off everything.
Yeah, or anytime they try to do the Lone Ranger, that never works.
Yeah, that's just stay away from Tonto. You got a Native American character named Stupid. Let's just pass.
Yeah, I'll tell you that's
solid pass.
That's a hard pass for me. All right. Well, do you have anything else on this movie?
No, it's a great movie. I will say this because I feel like I'm being very untrue to myself without critiquing it a little bit harder. So, Kiefer Sutherland, Doc Spurlock, the poet,
yes,
all the poetry and his obsession with whatever her name was, Yin, I think.
Yen's son.
Yen's son.
Yeah.
Okay, I got her name right.
There you
Good
go.
for me. So yeah, that whole kind of C plot.
Yeah, I could have done without.
I could have done without it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And again, I'm going to chalk that up to a studio thing because the real Doc Spurlock, not even remotely close.
Yeah, well, and you had to have some sort of love story. That's just a Hollywood thing. You have to have some sort of.
The love story is between Billy and his gun.
Exactly. End of story.
Yeah, you don't always have to put P and V to be a love story.
Absolutely.
Think outside the bun.
All right. Well, on that note,
we're going to take off after that sick Taco Bell ref?
Yeah.
Cool.
For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1988's Young Guns.
We're in the spirit world, asshole. They can't see us.